disappointed as I am that Homer did not attempt the ollie himself during that demo, the show must go on, and on it will go with Thief and Daniel Winfield-Schmidt, the lead level designer at Eidos Montreal. Daniel, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, man.
So glad to have you guys here. Thief, one of the games that, you know, is on everyone's lip when we talk about next-gen consoles, and it's exciting to see you here, and we've got a live demo. It's going to be actually played in just a few moments. We'll kick it off.
Yeah, it's always interesting to do a live demo because you never know what's going to happen.
As we saw yesterday, yeah, during some of the press conferences, yeah, live, and as we've seen today on our very own live stage. But yeah, so set it up for us before we jump in. Where in Garrett's story is this demo does this take place?
So this is not a sequel or prequel to the original series. It's a reinvention of the Thief franchise, which means it's narratively it's very different. What's important is that we studied the DNA, and this is like our interpretation of what it means to be Garrett, be the stealth action adventure kind of style. What's important is it's a game about options. It's about how do you decide, how do you go through these scenarios, what tools do you bring, how do you adjust yourself to what you see and what you hear. So that's a very big part for us. Play styles, I think we're going to play here more like an aggressive hybrid with the stealth.
All right.
But you could go completely ghost, or you can go completely aggressive.
And worth noting here, folks, as you probably maybe caught a glimpse of that DualShock controller scheme earlier, this is running on a PlayStation 4 debug. So
indeed.
The next generation is here.
Oh, it is.
Very exciting. And just a quick reminder before we get started, hashtag GameSpot E3. Twitch.tv/GameSpot chat and GameSpot.com comments. That's where I'm taking questions for Thief. And now I'll shut up because he's talking.
A useful distraction. Northcrest Manor. Somewhere in here rests the Baron's precious heirloom. The heart of the lion. I don't know what it looks like, but I do know it's priceless.
Eyes on me! You're here to stop that mob reaching the Baron. If those scum break through the gates of Northcrest, that's where they'll fall. Stand firm, and Northcrest holds tonight.
There are plenty of guards here, but with the mob on the way, they won't be expecting me.
So one of the big cornerstones of Thief is, to be concealed, to be hidden.
Yep.
So what we do have from the original series, we have the light gem in the bottom left corner. So that one shows dark when you're concealed majority of the view, and it becomes light bright when you enter light. What we also have is a shroud around the corner of the edge, which indicates when you transition between these zones. So you see.
Okay,
there.
so yeah, now we see slight shroud encroaching. This means you're hidden. Even if this guy looks up, he's not going to see you.
So it might look like a binary system, but it's not. It's a very complicated sensory system. But it does have a feedback system to when is it that you're most exposed versus when you're most hidden. So there are several states. And like for example here, the surfaces actually make a huge difference. The grass makes less sound. If you run through water, it's going to make a lot more sound. So the player has to adapt to say, what is the surface I'm going to be threading on? Actually makes a difference. Due to an event that happens earlier in the game as well, you have something called Focus, which is, by the way, completely optional if you want to disable it. You do not need it to complete the game, but you can use it in special cases.
That's this mode right now that we're seeing?
Exactly. You can use it to increase your aim. You can use it to see things in the environment you might have missed.
Okay. Sort of, I mean, that's a tool that many modern action games use, especially to enhance the sort of stealth gameplay, but I think, your emphasis on it's completely optional certainly speaks to how dedicated you guys are to retaining that original, very hardcore stealth mode of the original Thief games.
Exactly. There's also a lot of the UI you can enable or disable depending on how much help do you want. Some people, they play at home and, their kids screaming in the background. We want to make sure that they still have, they don't have to reload to get the experience. But for somebody like me, I'm just going to go home, put on headphones and, disable all the features. And
then all the kids can scream all they want. You don't have to listen.
Exactly.
All right, so this is, now we're taking, this environment, there's plenty, we see these little raised walls. That's a pathway that Garrett could go on. We see these boxes, lots of places to sneak around. Are many of the environments in Thief big enough to give you that flexibility to choose your path through the environment?
So there's geographical paths that are like multiple options even in this level. But what we also have is how do you deal with scenarios? Because just in this space, there's like a ton of ways you could have dealt with the situation.
Yep.
One of the things you see here, by the way, is the swoop dash, which is a small thing addition from the original Thief series, where you're able to quickly dash backwards, sideways, like between shadows to really get a hold of the AI. And we also have the fire arrow, as you can see here.
That's going to be messy.
And you could set fire on these guys, but we can do it more like a stealth approach for now, just to keep you on the edge.
Oh, all right, yeah. Just to let you know that we could.
You could.
We could turn this into a bloodbath, but we'll remain stealthy. We'll remain in the dark. And so Locomotion, obviously a huge part of staying in stealth, and you were talking about that little swoop move that we've seen a few times. What other tricks does Garrett have up his sleeves, or his boots, as the case may be?
Up his boots?
Yeah, down the boot?
Down the boot. So there's a lot of things about how we designed both the combat and how we design different things you could do. But even if you play aggressively, you still have to work from the shadows. So if you run into open light, you're not going to have a very good chance. So it's still hit and run from the shadows, even within our aggressive mode. So if you just want to stay out of it, it's probably staying concealed. It's probably the strongest thing he can do.
Now, one of the things he does to stay concealed is make use of a robust tool set. And Georgina on Twitter is wondering about the tools that Garrett can use and about their durability. Is that also a factor?
So right now, the arrows are shattered on impact to leave less evidence that he was even there.
Oh, nice.
So there's a small twist.
Not durable on purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't want to leave a mark anyway, so that's kind of the thing. So what you have here, you've seen the fire arrow that you can use to ignite things. You can destroy objects with it. You also have the blackjack. You can create sound by slapping a table or whatever. And then in addition, you have the focus abilities, which can be used in different ways. For example, you can use it to see through, see if there's anybody on the other side. There you go. You can see footsteps of the guard on the other side. So it's not over powerful because you can't see who it is. You can't see. You have to pay attention to what they're doing.
Yeah, you can get a little contextual clue, but it's not giving the game away. It's not showing you the entire silhouette in this case. And that was a nice little bit of robbery.
Exactly, and they had no clue what just happened.
And so you gained XP from that, at the very least, probably some money as well. Is that, what systems do those fuel? The gain of XP and the gain of money?
So money, of course, you can buy more arrows and more tools and so on. The natural economy flow. For the XP, it's more like a way of measuring how good the player is. So we think there's a lot of competitive nature, even on the dev floor. So that's a very important part for us. Also, you should notice that the focus and the health do not auto-regenerate, by the way. This is a hardcore game.
Yes.
In that sense, it does not auto-regenerate, which means you have to find consumables like that flower he picked up, which is a poppy flower, or health pickups that you can use then to consume to regenerate your health.
Replenish those.
Yeah, to regain your health.
Yeah, but otherwise, you might find yourself in a tight spot with low health, and you got to make use of your stealth abilities to get yourself out of there.
You might want to pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
I'm checking in the Twitch chat here for some questions, and the show-off wants to know about, we've remained in stealth so far during this demo, but once you're spotted, people know you're there. You can evade, but do they ever return back to oh, he must be gone? Talk about stealth elevation, and then how long does that sort of threat level linger?
So, with every next-gen game comes next-gen dog. So we have dogs too.
Oh, the dog.
So as you see here, he actually just caused an alert where the guards are going to oh, something happened, and they're going to start investigating, looking around, do a search pattern, and just make sure that is the danger gone? They didn't actually see you, so they will actually go back to their original.
Not sure. They could be, the dog could just be getting riled up about a night squirrel.
Exactly, a very evil.
I think those are called rats.
They're evil rat. So there are options of how they react to you when you've been there or not. So they don't actually see you, so they're assuming that the Graven, the city revolt that's going on, they're the ones infiltrating it. So you're kind of using this opportunity to sneak in to steal a precious family heirloom.
That's right, because you're not the lone antagonist in this story. You're kind of a side player almost in a larger societal conflict that's going down.
Exactly. You're kind of the in-between factions, whoever pays the most. So normally in the playthroughs we do here at E3, we kind of go down to a basement and kind of sneak in. But here we're going to do something a little different. We're going to bam.
That was loud.
That was loud. I was a little too far away. So what we're going to do here is go through the attic, which is a different entry point that we haven't shown so far.
Intriguing.
So
what awaits in the attic?
So what you'll see here is the rope arrow. So it's back. So people have asked if the claw replaced it. It just does not. So this is a great opportunity to gain access to certain places.
Oh, yeah. Because, you know, he's a pretty adept climber, but sometimes you just need a little help from your very own rope ladder.
Rope ladder, yes, excellent. So what would, a thief be without a crowbar?
Question just popped up on Twitter 50 seconds ago asking about the rope arrow.
There you go.
Boom, Derek. There you go.
You got your rope arrow, Derek.
You read this guy's mind.
Just for you.
Now we're infiltrating the attic, and so this is
a hidden room.
this is interesting because he's searching for something he calls the heart. That's a precious item. He doesn't know what it looks like.
So the heart of the lion. So there's some information you get prior to going here. Unfortunately, this is all we're showing for now. So you infiltrate the mansion, and the mansion goes on, and he goes on. It's a pretty big mission.
Okay.
So you infiltrate it, and you have to find out where it is. He's hidden it somewhere. And it's about finding clues. Where could he have hidden it? Why did he hide it? There's a lot of information. I think that's very important for the Thief franchise, is to have that, that underlying. You can investigate. You can find information. There's a lot more backstory than meets the eye, and that's kind of what the exploratory element comes to it.
And that kind of stuff, does it just sort of inform you about the world and flesh it out and give you some cool context, or will it clue you into some things about the mission that maybe you can then leverage?
A lot of it has to have meaning to it, right? So if you start investigating, you get backstory, you get small fun nuggets of entertainment, or you find maybe secrets that you would miss otherwise. Oh, he hid this thing underneath the bookshelf, and then you have to go investigate. Eventually, you find the thing you were looking for.
We've got a question from Twitch chat wondering about third-person view. Zonehammer is curious. This is obviously first-person in the demo and all that we've seen so far, but previous Thief games have had third-person view, and
so primarily this is a first-person game.
Yes.
And in small segments, we have a third-person climbing sequences, just like small here and there, very isolated compared to the main game. So it's a purely first-person systemic game.
Cool. This being a show where next-gen hardware is on display and next-gen gizmos and gadgets and whatnot, this was playing on a PS4 debug, after all. Touchpad use on the PS4 controller or any kind of tablet integration, that kind of stuff. What do you got?
So for the PS4, we have some motion control to help with the swoop. We have aiming with the bow, and we have some ideas for how to do frame search and stuff like that with the touchpad. So there we have a lot of ideas right now. Right now we're not showing too much because our ideas are still, we really want to make them.
They're still ideas.
Impressive.
You need to see if they're actually going to work in a game or not, whether or not they're just neat ideas. All right, checking here on Twitter, and yeah, that dude is just super happy about the rope arrows. Will they face purely human enemies, wonders Cyber Blackjack.
That's a good question.
Because there's that tinge of the supernatural to the Thief world. It's not, no one's casting spells in your face really or anything, but there is something else going on.
So there is something very important to the story that is a little mystical. We want to keep the game very grounded, to not make it too much over the top. We don't want Garrett acquiring fireballs and that kind of thing. We want to keep it very grounded. There will be variation. I'm not going to go more into it.
Okay.
But unfortunately, you will not see Bureks, for example. Sorry.
That's all right. There's still, you want to get in touch with those guys. Go Thief Legacy. All right. Daniel, Thief is coming out on what platforms, and when is it coming out?
It is coming 2014 on PS4, high-end PCs, and Xbox One.
Fantastic. Fully next gen, and a great showing so far at E3. Hope the rest of the show goes well for you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, folks. Now that is your look at Thief, and there's more to come from the GameSpot Stay Show today. Let me just call up the schedule and give you a little peek at what's coming up. We've got Destiny later, Call of Duty Ghosts, Daylight, Loco Cycle, but next, it's going to be Beyond Two Souls. We got a brief look at that during the Sony, well, not that brief, look at it during the Sony press conference with the woman character, totally blanking on her name, going through some military exercises. We're going to hopefully see more of that and get a chance to ask questions about Beyond Two Souls when we come back to the live stage after this.